Coming up in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can work with custom post types as well as advanced custom fields, and also how you can display this data on your WordPress website. So together, we're going to build a custom post type called movies. I'll show you how you can create a custom taxonomy called genre for the movies. And then using the advanced custom fields plugin, we're going to create 3 different custom fields for our movies, which will be release date, director, and budget. And by the end of the video, this is exactly what we'll be able to accomplish. We're going to have a page specifically displaying the title, the featured image, as well as the 3 custom fields for our movies, as well as the excerpt. And then we're also going to create a template specifically for the single movies, where we'll have the title, the featured image, the 3 custom fields, as well as the full content of the movies. Now, just to give you a very quick demonstration over here at the back end, we're going to create 2 main files. It's going to be the page-new-release.php. This will be the main template file for displaying the movies. And then we're going to create a single-movie.php file, which we'll use for displaying each individual movie. So if you're interested in learning how to work with custom page templates, advanced custom fields, custom post types, this is going to be the perfect video for you. Now, there are a few things I need to mention to you. First of all, this is not for beginners. Ideally, you should know HTML, CSS. You should be comfortable working with WordPress. And if you know just a little bit of PHP, it will help a lot. You don't have to be a master at PHP. If you know just the basics, for example, how to open up a PHP tag and how to close a PHP tag, you should be able to take this lesson. Also, you should have FTP access. If you don't know how to create an FTP account or how to access the files of your WordPress website with FTP, I have videos showing you how to do that. I'll have the links in the box below. Also, ideally, you should be working with a child theme. It doesn't matter if you're working with a temporary domain or a temporary website, you can do this in the main theme. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be using the 2021 WordPress theme, but specifically the child theme for the 2021 theme. Also, if you're interested, I'm going to go ahead and share all the code I have used in this video. So ideally, it's just going to be the folder for my 2021 child theme. I will have it in a Dropbox folder. You will find the link in the box below. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. All right, so let's get started. I have already installed the 2 main plugins we'll be working with, which are the Advanced Custom Fields plugin by Elliot Condon, and then the Custom Post Type UI by Web Dev Studio. So please go ahead and install these 2 plugins. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create ourselves the custom post type for movie. All right. So where you have CPT UI, I'm going to go over to Add Edit Post Types, and then from here, I'm going to add movie. That's going to be the slug. And then plural label will be movies. And then singular label will just be movie. Down here, you do have some additional options where you can edit basically the placeholder text for like search item, view items, things like that, all the way down here to item updated. We're not going to make any changes to any of these. So I'll just go ahead right now and just simply add the post type. By the way, all the way down here, you could actually attach some of the default taxonomies to your custom post type, like categories or tags, but we're going to create our own separate taxonomy. And to do that, I'm going to come down here to add edit taxonomies. So let me click in there. And from here right now, I'm going to call this one genre, because movies typically have a genre. You have genre of horror, sci-fi, action, comedy, things like that. So I'm going to go with the taxonomy slug for genre. Plural label will be genre again, and then singular label will be genre. And then down here, I'm going to say movies because we want to attach this taxonomy to our movies. Let's go ahead now and add our taxonomy. And you will notice right now that since we've already added the custom post type of movies, we now have movies right here. And because we've just added the genre taxonomy for movies, you can see genre is now down here as well. I'm going to click on genre. Let's add 3 genres. So the first one here would be my favorite, action. I love action movies. So let's add action. I'm going to add thriller. And then let's just add one more for, let's call that one comedy. Let's add that. And now I'm going to go ahead and add a movie. But before we do that, let's actually add the advanced custom fields first. that we're going to be working with. So let me just go back down here to custom fields. Let's go ahead now and add new. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the name of our field group. In this case right now, since the custom fields are going to be for the movie custom post type, I'm simply going to call this one movies. All right. Now right here, we're going to add our very first field, and the very first field here is going to be the, let's call it the release date. All right. So that's going to be the label release date. And then when you click inside of field name, automatically the plugin will generate the slug for the field. And then down here, the field type, let's go with the date picker. So right here under jQuery, I'm going to go with the date picker. And there you go. All right, we can change some other things like the display format, but we're not interested in any of that. I'm just going to go ahead and close the field. Let's scroll back up. Let's add another field. This time we're going to add the director. A very, very, very important field. Field name will be director. Field type is just going to be text. So we'll leave that as it is. Let's go ahead now, close the field. Let's add one more field. And in this case right now, I'm going to go with the budget. That will be the budget, how much was spent making the movie. That's the field name. The field type here is going to be number. All right, but I'm going to do something a little bit different right here. Down here, where you have the prepend and append, I'm going to prepend the value of the dollar symbol, because basically every movie we're going to publish will have a budget which was spent in dollars. And then I will also append million. So basically every budget will be something like, let's say $20 million, $14 million, and so on. So rather than us having to constantly type in the dollar symbol and then million at the end of the number, we'll just prepend dollar symbol and then append the word million. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go ahead now and close the field. And there it is. So we have our 3 custom fields. And then down here where you have the rules, make sure it says show this field group if the post type is equal to movie. I'm going to add that one. And now let's go ahead now and publish. And there you go. All right. So now we can add our very, very first movie. And can you take any guess as to what movie I am going to add? Well, the movie is going to be A Quiet Place 2. I'm actually looking forward to this movie. It's supposed to be released very, very, very soon. So right here, I'm going to post some text, which let me just grab from my notepad file right here. This is just dummy text, lorem ipsum. So I'm going to go ahead and paste it, paste that again, and then paste it one more time. So basically just 3 paragraphs. All right. Then down here, you can see we now have the advanced custom fields showing up. So release date, I'm going to go with June. Let's just call it June 4th, 2021. The director, I believe, is John Krasinski. Not sure if I got that one correctly, but let's just leave it as it is. The budget, I don't know. Let's just go with 7 million. So you can see right now we have the dollar symbol and then million at the end here. So we're going to go with $7 million. And one more thing we're going to do is we're going to go to movie right here and let's choose the genre. So we have the genre taxonomy right here. And then inside, we'll just type in our thriller. All right. Thriller. And one last thing for the featured image, let's click in there. And I do have an image I already got from the internet for The Quiet Place. It's the one right here, as you can see. So I'm just going to set that as my featured image. And there you go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and hit publish. And there you go. All right, now if we view the movie, you can see that we can actually see it. We can see the title, we can see the featured image, and we can also see the content. The reason why this works right now is because WordPress by default has already been programmed to always display the title, the featured image, the excerpt, and even the content of your custom post types by default. However, if we were going to display the advanced custom fields, in this case right now being the release date, the director, and the budget, we will have to add our own code. But before we do that, let's go ahead and create a page which we're going to use to display the movies. It's going to be kind of like the blog page that we use to display our blog posts, but in this case right now, it's going to be a special page, and I'm going to call this page the new release page. So the idea here being that whenever people go to the new release page, they will see a quiet place and then some other movies there as well. Let's go ahead and hit publish for this. And now if you view the page, obviously it's just going to be a blank page, nothing to show. Okay, now this is where we're going to introduce our child theme files as well as FTP. I am using Notepad++. And just to show you right here, you can see I've connected to my website. I'm inside my themes folder. Let me just show you. So inside my themes folder, I do have the 2021 theme made by WordPress by default. And then I have my 2021 child theme. And inside of my 2021 child theme, I do have my functions.php, which is basically enqueuing the style.css file from the parent theme. And then I do have my style.css file, which of course I used for creating the child theme. But of course, ideally, if you're working with a child theme, you would already have these two files in place. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to create a new file inside of our child theme directory. And I am going to call this file page-new-release.php. So basically, I'm just using the name of the page for the title in here, all right? So page-new-release.php. Let's go ahead and open it up. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab this code real quick, the one right here. Let me copy that, and I'm going to paste that. What I've done right now is with this line of code, I'm basically saying, hey, I am adding this as a template which my pages can actually use. I'm going to go ahead now and save it. Now, note the name of my template is called new release. Okay, so I'm trying to be as consistent as possible with all the naming. If I go back now to my website and I go to edit this page, from here, if you come down to page attributes, now right here where you have templates, you can now choose the new release template. So let's choose that one. Let's go ahead now and update. And now if you view the page, you're going to see absolutely nothing. And that's because our template right now is still empty. But just to confirm that indeed it's actually working, just type in some nonsense, okay, inside the file. Just save it. And now if we go back, let's just wait for this to save. Okay, now if we go back to the file, page rather, and we refresh, now you can see the nonsense that we just typed into our template file. So that's it. We have successfully created our template file for the new release page template. Now, in order for us to begin to display the contents for our movies, we will now have to begin to add the necessary code in order to do so. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go over to my notepad file right here, and I'm going to grab plenty of code right here. Don't worry, I'm going to explain to you everything that I have done right here. First things first though is let me just remove this code first of all. All right, what's going on in here? I have my PHP code called get header and then get the footer. Basically, your WordPress themes have a header file which will basically display your logo, your main menu, but there is also the footer file that will display the contents of your footer. What these two functions basically do is that we're grabbing the code for displaying the header, and we're also grabbing the code for displaying the footer. So as such, if I save this file right now as it is, if I was to go back to my page right here and I refresh the page, right now you can see that we're now displaying, well, it's not exactly the logo, but it's where the logo is supposed to be. But we have the header basically, and we also have our footer section as well with the widgets, as well as my WordPress, proudly powered by WordPress files being displayed right there. So that's basically what these two lines of code do. They grab the header and the grab the footer. Now, this is where things get very, very interesting. And let me just create some space in here so we can handle each block at a time. First of all, remember that the objective is we want to display contents for our custom post type movies, right? As such, we have to tell WordPress that, hey, we're not working with the WordPress posts or the WordPress pages. We're working with my own custom post type of movies. As such, we have to tell WordPress. This is exactly what we're doing right here. We're creating a variable called arguments, or args in this case, equals an array. And then inside of the array, we're saying, hey, our post type in this case right now is going to be movie. And now right here, we're saying this query, in fact, right here, I forgot to add the ags. So right now we are basically passing this array inside of this variable called the query. Let me just repeat myself. First of all, we're creating an array where we're saying the post type we're dealing with is movie. And then we're going to pass this argument inside of our actual WordPress query, and we're assigning that to the variable the query. Now, this is where things actually work. You see right here, this is what we call the WordPress loop. The first line of code here is saying if we have movies, remember that the query, this variable right now, its value is equal to this. The value of args in this case right now is equal to the post type of movie. Okay, I know it may sound complicated, but just bear with me. So right now we're saying if this post type of movie has posts, and while we have posts under movies, now begin to display certain information about those movies. In other words, if you have movies, and as long as you continue to have movies, do this. But what are we now doing? This is where we begin to display our content. The first thing we want to display right here is going to be the title of our movie. And as such, we have something known as a WordPress tag, a template tag. They're kind of like pre-built functions that will dynamically display certain kinds of data. For the title, we do have the tag right here, which is PHP, and then PHP, and then the underscore title, brackets, colon, and then let's close the PHP code. This right here is what will display the title of our movie. Now, I'm going to go ahead to save the file. And now let's go back to the page. And now from here, if I refresh the page, now you can see A Quiet Place 2 being displayed. In fact, I'm going to do something very, very, very quickly. Let me add another movie real quick. And I'm just going to call this one No Time to Die, which is, of course, the latest, the upcoming James Bond movie. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly publish this because I want to show you something really, really cool. Now, notice that we now have two movies, right? We have No Time to Die and we have A Quiet Place 2. If I was to go back to my new release page, you will now see that we now have No Time to Die and also A Quiet Place 2 being displayed. That's because right now, what the code is doing is that it's going through all the custom post type of movies that we have, and it is displaying the titles of each one of them. That's why it's called a WordPress loop. It basically goes into the custom post type of movie, okay, and it says, all right, if we have movies, yes, we have movies, and as long as we have movies, display the title of that movie. That's exactly why now you are seeing the titles of A Quiet Place 2 and No Time to Die being displayed. But let's do something even more awesome, all right? I'm going to pause the video right now, actually, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add two more movies. I'm going to finish adding the content for No Time to Die. So I'm going to add the featured image, the genre, the budget, and so on. And I'll also add another movie as well. So we're going to have 3 movies in total. So I'm going to pause the video and resume once I am done. Welcome back. And as you can see, I've added 2 more movies, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and then also No Time to Die. I've added some content, the featured image, and so on. So if we go back now to the page, our new release page, now you can see I have all 3 titles: Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, No Time to Die, and then A Quiet Place 2. Let's go ahead and add more information about this post, or these movies rather. So I'm going to go back to my file in here. The next tag we're going to work with will be the post thumbnail. We want to display the featured image for our movies. And for that one, I'm going to say PHP and now the underscore post underscore thumbnail in brackets, colon, and then let's close the PHP code and let's go ahead now, save this, and let's see how this would look like. Let's go back to our page, refresh the page, and there you go. So now you can see we have the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, No Time to Die, and then A Quiet Place. Now I know that the design looks very, very bad. Don't worry, we will fix it. And the first thing we can do is to actually make the title of our movies headers. So we can use the H2 tag or the H3 tag for them. Now, how do we do that? Well, I'm going to go back right here to my template file. Right here where we have the title, I am going to say H2. And this basically means that we are wrapping the title in an H2 tag, an HTML tag. So this is going to be H2. Let's go ahead now, save this, and you will see the difference immediately. Let's go back to the page. Let's refresh the page, and there you go. So now we have the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. We have the image. No Time to Die, we have the image. And then we also have A Quiet Place 2. Let's go ahead and also add the excerpt for our movies. So let's go back to our file. We're going to open up another tag again, PHP. And as you might guess, the excerpt. That is going to be the tag we're going to work with. And let's check this out. I'm going to go ahead now, save. Let's go back to the page, refresh the page one more time. And there you go. All right, so we have the excerpt for the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. We have the excerpt for No Time to Die. And then the excerpt for A Quiet Place 2. And then also when you click on the continue reading, this will now take us to the page specifically for that movie. Okay, I'm very, very, very happy with what we've done so far. Before we round up part 1, let's actually try to fix the way the new release page looks like. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a container for this page, and then we'll try to align the contents in the middle of that container. So how do we do this? Let's go back to our file right here, the template, and at the top right here, just before we begin the loop, I'm going to open up a div, and I'm going to say this equals, div class equals, and then in quotes, let's call this new dash release dash page. All right, so we're basically putting everything inside of this div. Let me go ahead and just tabulate this so everything is inside of this div. Now I'm going to close the div, and there it is. So we're adding basically some HTML. All right, so now we have new release page containing all of this content. Let's save this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the style.css, and now we're going to add some style for our new class. So to do that, I'm going to say .new dash release dash page. Remember, we're working with a class, which is why we're using the dot and not the hashtag. The hashtag symbol would be for an ID. So let's open up our curly braces for the CSS. Now we're going to give this one a max width of 1240 pixels. Okay, and now here is a CSS trick. If you want to have equal distance from the left hand side to the right hand side, we're going to go with margin 0 and then auto. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Let's save the page. Let's go ahead now to the page again. Let's refresh the page. And there you go. Now you can see we have everything inside of the container of 1240 pixels, and you can see we have equal distance from the left hand side and the right hand side. By the way, if you're applying these CSS changes and you're not seeing them, please, it's very likely going to be a caching issue. Disable caching from your web host's account, disable caching on your browser, or at least clear the browser cache so that you're able to see the live CSS changes. One more thing I want to do is to actually make the titles of our post clickable so that when people click on the title, it will take them to the page. So in order to do that, I'm going to grab this code real quick right here. Let me just copy that. Let me go back to my notepad file, go back to the page template. So right here, let me just go ahead and paste that code. So basically the point is we're still wrapping the title inside of our h2 tag, but now we're using the permalink function or tag to now make the title clickable. You can see right now we're using the a tag from HTML to make this clickable, and of course we're enclosing the we're wrapping it around the title tag. That's basically what this does. So now if we go ahead now and save this file and I go back to my page, let's do a hard refresh one more time. And now you can see that we have the links right there. If I click on the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, it should now take us to the movie post, the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and there it is. So that's it for part one. We've successfully added our custom post type of movies. We've added the custom fields. We've been able to create our custom page template, page new release. And we've also been able to add some code to display the title, the thumbnail, and the excerpt of our movies. So jump in part two, where I will now show you how to display the custom fields of our movies. Alright, so welcome to part two, where we're going to learn how to display the custom fields, and we're also going to build a template for our single movie posts. Now, so far so good. We have the title, the featured image, as well as the excerpt for our movies showing up. But what about the advanced custom fields that we added? Remember that we added 3 of them, and the 3 were the director, release date, as well as the budget. So here they are: release date, director, and budget. Now, the name of these fields is what we're going to be using, and you need to be very, very careful in here, because if you make a mistake, this is not going to work. So pay very close attention. This is the name of the fields we're going to be using. So let's get started. I'm going to go over to my notepad file right here, and let's first of all display the date. All right, and we can do that just beneath the thumbnail. So right here, I'm going to say PHP and then the field, and then in brackets. And now we will have to make use of the name of the field, which is release_date. So let's go back. So that's going to be right here, release_date. That's the name of our field. Let's add our semicolon, and let's also close the PHP tag. Let's save. And now let's go back to our page, pages, new release, view the page right here. And there you go. So that's the date of release for Hitman's Bodyguard. That's the date for No Time to Die. And that is the date for A Quiet Place. Now, obviously, it doesn't look that good just yet. So we can add some text to show that, hey, this is actually the date. So let's go back to the notepad file. So right here, where we have the release date, let's first of all make this an H4 tag. So H4, and then check this out. I'm going to say release date dash, and then we'll have the release date itself. And now let us close the H4 tag. So this is how you can do it. Let's go ahead now, save. Let's go back to our page, refresh, and there you go. Release date dash, and now we have the dates in there. Awesome, right? So let's go ahead now and display the other two fields, which are of course director and budget. So what I'm going to do very easily right here is just to grab this entire line of code. Let's copy, let's paste, and then let's paste again. So right now I'm going to come in here and say director, and then for the field we'll just change release date to director, and then the last one is going to be the budget, and of course we'll just change this field right here to budget. Let me make sure I type that in correctly. All right, so director, budget. Let me go ahead now, save, go back to my page, refresh the page, and there it is. We have all our custom fields showing. Release date, director, and then budget. Oh, by the way, for budget, we still need to add the $sign and then the million. Unfortunately, even though we appended and prepended the dollar symbol and million to the budget field, it still won't display automatically in our template. We'll actually need to add the text to our template file. So let's go back in there. So check this out. I'm going to say budget. So we're looking for the $sign just before the actual budget. So right here, I'm going to add the $sign. Okay, and then right here, I'm going to add a space and then say million. So budget will be, so everything will say budget dash and then the number in million right there. So let's go ahead now, save. And let's see how this will now look like. Let's go back in here. Let's refresh the page. And there it is, 7 million. Yay! We have 47 million. And of course, we also have 19 million right there. So that's how to display your custom fields with the advanced custom field plugin. Now, I know it was pretty straightforward. And the thing is, if you go to Advanced Custom Fields website, you go to the documentation right here under field types, they actually show you how you can display the code. So even though it was all the fields we used were fairly the same, if you went, for example, with the true or false kind of field, which is a little bit different, you click in there, they will actually show you how you can display the code. So right down here, you will have the template usage. So this is how you can use the code to display whether it's true or false and your templates. And even right here as well, you will have access to how to display content using the field. So it doesn't matter which field you use. In here also file as an example. You just click on file. You come all the way down here and then you'll see exactly how to make use of the field. It's very straightforward and pretty easy to use. So that's it. So far, so good. We've been able to display all this information right now on the review page. I'm sorry, on the new release page. However, still keep in mind that when we click on the titles of our movie post and it takes us to the actual single post for the movie release, we're still not seeing the custom fields in here. We can only see the title, the featured image, and then the content. So how do we now display the custom fields in the single post pages for our upcoming releases? Now, in order to do so, we'll have to make use of a particular template file. But before I show you that file, let's go over to the main theme, which is 2021. And I want to show you this file called the single.php. This is the file used by WordPress to display the content for all your single posts. Also, your custom post types will use this template by default. Now, to prove it, I'm going to type in some stuff right here at the top. Let's save this to our file. And now let's go back to the website. And then right here, I'm going to refresh the page. And now you can see this nonsense being displayed right here at the top. So this proves that indeed WordPress is using the single.php file. But now how do we create our very own template file, our own custom template file for the single posts of our movies? Let me first of all remove this, clear everything. Let me just save this back. What we're going to do right now is, let me just close this file because we don't need it anymore. I'm going to go back to, actually, we should still open it. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Let me just open it back again. My apologies. But I'm going to go back now to the folder for my child theme. And then in here, I'm going to create a new file. And we're going to call this file single dash and now movie.php. This is extremely important because the naming convention is, you must follow this naming convention, okay? You must start off with single dash and then the post name, the post type name, which in our case is movie. This is exactly how you should name your template files. Otherwise, it would not work. So single dash movie.php. I'm going to click OK right now. Okay, and now you will see that automatically WordPress will start to use this template file for our movies. Let me open it up. Let me just type in some stuff in here, type in some more stuff. Let's save. So now to prove that WordPress is using this template file, let's go back to our page. Let's refresh the page. And now you can see we have all that been displayed. So once again, please, whenever you're naming the template files for your single posts, make sure it's single dash and then the name of the custom post type that you're working with. Okay, let me clear out all of this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the single.php and we're going to grab some code right here. In fact, guess what? I'm going to grab everything. We're going to steal all the code from single.php. So let's copy that. Now we no longer need single.php. I'm going to come in here and then paste all that code. Up here, I can just make some adjustments in here. Template for displaying all upcoming movies. Just as an example, right? I'm going to go ahead and remove all of this stuff. We don't need any of that. Okay, so what do we have here? We have get header, which we've seen before. We also have get footer down in here as well. And now in here, this is where we have the loop that will begin to display content for our movies. However, we now need to grab some code from this first template file, which was for the new release page. We need to grab the code in here and then paste it into our single-movie.php, but not everything. We are going to grab everything starting from the H2 right here. Please pay attention right here. Okay, over here, we already have the loop running. It says while have posts, the post. Okay, so in here, the loop has already started. WordPress already knows to pull in the information from the movie post type because the template is single-movie.php. So we don't need to go back in here and say, okay, the post type here is movie, the query equals this. No, we don't need that anymore. Just because we're already working with this template file, WordPress already knows that, okay, this template file is to be used for the movies. So we're just going to grab the code from where the loop actually starts, which is the one right here. So I'm going to grab all of this. Okay, let's just grab all of that one right there, copy, come back in here, and then I'm going to go ahead now and paste the code. All right, now this is where some experience with PHP and HTML might be important because if you're not careful, you might end up confusing yourself and your code will not work. Here's the thing. Right now, let me just show you up in here, you see we've opened the PHP code. And then right here, the H2, this is the start of an HTML code. In order for this to work properly, we'll need to close this first PHP code up here. So right down here, I'm going to say question mark and then the greater than symbol. So now you can see we've closed this PHP code. Everything now works well up until this point right here. In fact, depending on the text editor you're using, you'll get some clues. We know that something is broken because this is just black. It's just black. There is no longer any blue color or red color. So obviously what's going on in here right now is that the PHP code needs to be opened up again. So I'm going to say question mark PHP And just like that, you see everything right now has gone back to normal. And then all the way down here, okay, we can then choose to close the PHP code. Just like that. Okay, this should work. However, let me introduce you to a new kind of function in here, which is the template-parts/content/content-single. You see this right here. What's going on in here is that this is basically telling us that, hey, WordPress is going to go into a folder called template parts, and it's going to look for another folder called content, and then inside of that content folder, it will look for the file which is content-single. Let me show you. So please remember that we got this from the main theme 2021. So I'm going to go back to 2021 in here. So let me show you what's going on in here. First of all, we have template parts. This right here is template parts. You can see the folder template parts. I'm going to open it up. And now we have what? Content. So folder content. Let's open that up. And now, do you see the file content-single? It is right here, content-single. Now, if I open this up, this is where we now have the actual code that will display the contents for our post. You can see right here, the title, the post thumbnail, and then the content. This is the tag that will actually be used to display the full contents of our post. You can see everything right in here. So basically, just to give you a quick recap, this function right here is basically a way of you grabbing code from another file that exists in another folder. That's where the get template part function comes in. And then inside of the get template part, we can then put out the route or the directory towards where that particular file is. However, since we already have our own code up here for displaying the content that we need, we do not need this at all. So I'm going to go ahead now and remove that. However, by doing so, you can see this has gone all black again. So I'm going to go back right now and open up the PHP code again. I know this can be confusing, but I really hope that you're still able to follow. Okay, just to give you another recap, what do we have here so far? We have the header, okay, displaying the logo, the main menu. We now have our loop right here. And then because we've started the loop, we now have all the information we're displaying. We have the title, the post thumbnail, release date, director, budget. However, we're not displaying the excerpt anymore. We want to display the full content of the post. Remember once again that this is the template file for the single post of our movie. So instead of the excerpt, I'm going to say the content. That is the major difference. And now we have ending the loop. And then right here, where you have if it's attachment, this is just basically the post navigation so that we can see the next post, things like that. And then we also have the comments template created also for us. You can choose to remove this if you don't want to use it, but I'll just go ahead and keep it. Okay, let's go ahead and save this. And let's now go back to the file or our website. Let's refresh the page. And okay, so this is fine. Now we have an error. Okay, no problem. Right here on line 25. All right, let's go back and see what I did wrong right there. On line 25, which is right here. Oh, okay, I see what I did wrong. Okay, let me explain what's happening. You see, right here, whenever you start a loop, you have to end the loop. All right, in here, this is where we basically started the loop by saying if we have post, then display the thumbnail, display the title, and so on. And then down here, we also had the while, we still have posts. So this while, we ended it right here with the end while. And then the if right here, we ended it right here with the end if. So we have to close the loop, right? Now over here in our single-movie.php template file, we did not start with the if statement. you can see it's not here at all. It just says while. That's basically where we started from, while. All right. So we do not need this code. So let me go ahead and remove it. However, hold on. I've noticed something else as well. You might see the end while statement right here, right? And you might think, okay, this end while basically ends this loop, right? But no, the actual real end while statement is down here. This is where we're ending the loop. Keep in mind that the comment section, which is the one right here, and then also the post navigation, and as well the previous next post navigation in here, is all part of the loop. So everything in here should be inside of our loop. So I'm going to remove this end while statement as well. Let's remove that. And there it is. I'm going to go ahead now and save this, and this should work. All right. I'm going to go back right now to our page. Let's refresh. And there you go. Now we have the title, the image, and of course our custom fields, and then the full content of our post. Now, of course, this looks all rough. So let's just go ahead right now and grab the div that we added in here initially. So this is the div right here, div class equals new dash release dash page. So I'm going to grab this. Let's go back to our single dash movie.php, and we're just going to go ahead now and put it right up here, just above the start of the loop. Let me just go ahead and tabulate this, and then down here we can close the div. All right, so basically, actually I need to close this PHP code first of all. So let's close the PHP code. Okay, and there it is. And right here, I'm going to open up the PHP code again. And there it is. All right, I'm going to go ahead now, save this. And now if we go back one more time, let's refresh. And there it is. So now you can see it is working properly as it should. Plus, it's also pulling in the previous post, which is No Time to Die. You click in there. This takes us to No Time to Die, where we have everything in here as well. And now you can see we have the previous post as well as the next post for No Time to Die. So just to give you a recap again, because I want you to understand what we really did in here. Whenever you start your loops, you should always end them. There are various ways of starting a loop. You can go with the if statement first of all, or you can just go straight to the while statement. So in here, we went with the while statement first of all, and then down all the way in here, we ended the while statement. We ended the loop right here. It even says end of the loop right there. And we also had to close this PHP code so we could add our div, which is the one up here. We added the div class new release page, and then down here, we added the HTML closing tag for the div, and then we had to open up the PHP code again for get footer, and that's basically what we did. So there it is. We have successfully been able to create the template file for the upcoming release page, as well as the template files for the single posts for our movies. Before I round up, I want to quickly talk about a function that you may have seen already, and it's the one right here, which is the WP reset post data. We also had the exact same function in our page new release template here as well. The point of this function is that it is used to reset the loop. So once we've had the very first loop in here that goes through the post type of movie, we want to be able to reset the loop so that it goes back to its default, which is to pick the regular WordPress posts. So it's a good thing to have these kinds of function, or rather this kind of function in your main page template. In this case, my new release page template. However, in your single custom post type templates like the single dash movie, it is not necessary anymore. So I'm going to go ahead now and remove this function. We don't need that, and I'll just go ahead now and save. Also gonna head to apply some CSS to make our pages look a bit more presentable. So right now you can see this is the new improved new release page. We now have the title of the movie aligned to the center, as well as the custom post fields here as well. And I've also added some space in between each movie. And then for the actual single movie post page, I've also done the exact same thing here as well. The same advanced custom fields are aligned to the center as well as the title. And if you're interested, I do have all the code in here. Let me just quickly walk you through what I did. Essentially, in the page new release template, I just simply added a new div called new movie. And the idea here was to be able to separate one movie from another. That's why I added this div. And then all I did was in my style.css, I said, okay, new movie. We're going to add margin bottom 100 pixels. That was to create the space between the movies. And then you have the H2s and the H4s with their style properties as well as the values of them. And that's everything in here. I also just added the exact same class into the single -movie.php template file as well. You can see this is the div right here, and it closes down here. So like I said in the intro video, if you're interested in using my code, I'm going to share it with you in Dropbox. You can take a look at it, or if you prefer, you can just simply use your own code to design your page. So there it is. We've come to the end of today's lesson. And one quick one, you might be thinking, how do we display the genre of our movies? Like, how do we display comedy, horror, action, things like that? In all honesty, we could do that, but it's a bit more complicated, and I'm thinking about making a separate video specifically for that. However, if you really do want to display the genre, just create another custom field, call it genre or category or whatever, and then just display it just as you would with the release date or director or budget. It works the exact same way. Also, if you're interested, I do have a course dedicated to the WordPress theme development. I cover topics like this. I show you how to work with custom sidebars, custom image sizes, how to write your own WordPress functions. It's basically a course designed to make you a real WordPress developer. If you're interested, I'll have the link in the box below as well. And like I said, if you would like to use the code that I worked with in today's lesson, I'll have the Dropbox link in the box below as well. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Share the video with anyone who may feel might benefit. If you have any comments, questions, please let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if this is the first time you come to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, hit the bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new tutorial. My name is Alex. It's been a pleasure. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you next time. Cheers.